No, okay. I thought we did really well. I think 3 games in 7 days is always hard. And, you know, when we went down to 10 players in Kansas, we had to put a little bit of an extra shift in. And then we did something against Chicago we haven't done for a very long time, which is win, which took a lot. So I was slightly worried coming into this game, but yeah, I think 2 things. One, the girls put in a phenomenal effort. I think tactically, we sort of knew what they were going to try and do and ways we wanted to. We'd let them do some things, but we want to try and stop them doing other things. And we got rewarded with our first goal on that. And I feel like we're Seattle Reign currently. That's the best way I can describe it, is we feel like a team. We feel like a team that wants to play for each other. I feel like if in different periods before, in 2016 probably mainly, if Jess had gone down injured, it might have been that might have been the end of us in a game. And it's sort of, yes, she's obviously it's a big blow when Jess has to come off the field, but I felt like nothing really changed for us, which is, you know, credit to all the players, credit to Rumi when she came on. So yeah, I'm obviously really happy with the result, with everything that's gone into this week. I always said I was glad to have Portland last, because there's just that extra adrenaline and extra bite around the game, and I think that's what's dragged us through.
Do you have an update on Jess's injury?
She'll get a scan tomorrow. I don't think it's as bad as what we all first feared, but we won't know till tomorrow.
Coach, can you walk me through some of your decision-making process with your front 3?
Mm-hmm.
Clean that out on the right.
Yeah.
It's clean.
Yeah.
Whenever you choose to start Mary, we kind of know what you're going for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, what were your thoughts when you saw Dagny starting midweek at right back, and knowing that there might have been a good chance that she would go going up against Megan, you know?
Yeah, it was an interesting build-up to this game. I think often when we play Portland, we get very tactical and we want to solve everything, and we didn't have time, right? So we didn't have time to do all of that. I felt that, you know, looking at the data and looking at the way Naho and Pino had been, I didn't think both of them would last 90 minutes. They'd put in such a shift in the 2 Kansas games and then Chicago. And I felt that bringing Naho on and her quality that she has would be beneficial. And I didn't think we'd need to press the way we did for 90 minutes, the whole 90 minutes, and we ended up needing to. And Merritt lasted longer than I expected her to, because she covers so much ground, it's crazy. And Bev is one of the cleverest defending forwards I've ever worked with, and the way we wanted to try and force them to play, it suited Bev playing out wide a little bit, and she's had a lot of joy there before, and I felt like it worked in the first half. We forced them to go long on the right-hand side, and we knew that's what they were going to do, or we thought that's what they were going to do, and we planned for that. We tried to stop their midfield getting on it as much as they can, but we changed a few things at half-time, and I think in the second half, we even went higher on the press and pushed them back even more, because we felt we gave Sonnet a little bit too much room at times. And that was it, really. You know, I think I'd always planned to play Merritt against Chicago at right back. I think I said that on Wednesday. I didn't know who I was going to play in the Portland game, honestly, because 2 games in such a short period of time, Kansas and Chicago, you just don't know for this one. We'd had a great week with Rumi. I didn't think she was ready to start, even physically, but sort of she'd been out for a while. But I thought when she came in, she was outstanding. So yeah, I think that was the reason for the front 3. Long-winded answer, but that was.
Your team talked about, or Megan talked about, really grinding it out.
Yeah.
Christine talked about, the grit. Talk about that with your team, and how that plays a part in a team that's obviously talented. But what was that extra?
I said this a lot. I think when we've been at our most successful seasons, the thing that we've had is the grit, and we've been very hard to break down, and then we have talent. And every coach in the world will tell you that hard work beats talent a lot, because that's just the way sport is. But if talent can work really hard, then that's when you've got the best of both worlds. And I think currently that's what we've got. We've got very, very talented players. This is a very talented group of footballers. But they've also got this determination that they desperately don't want to lose. And, you know, I'll give credit to my staff, especially my fitness guy. We train harder at the minute than we've ever trained this season. And I think you've seen that this week. I think that's why we didn't look crazy tired throughout the game. I felt we looked the freshest, maybe. And we had 3 games at home, and I know that. But, you know, it takes a lot for what we've been through this week. And credit to Nick and the players, because they've worked really hard with him on being the fittest they could possibly be, which I think it's helped us for sure.
Laura, this is a pretty obvious question, but
Yeah.
the margin in this league can be very small.
Oh, yeah, it's
So
crazy,
having
yeah.
somebody that goes from an above average player to one of the best players in the league right now, Megan Rapinoe,
Yeah.
makes a huge difference. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of her play and, again, it sounds obvious, how much more dangerous that makes you as a team when you've got, you know, her and Sam Kerr, the best players in this league right now?
Oh, yeah. Pino's world class. Well, at the minute, she is beyond anything that I could have imagined getting out of her this year. And I think 2 things. One, she's coming off the back of a major injury. Her training habits are fantastic. The way she looks after herself is fantastic. Her desire to want to win is phenomenal. And I think I've always said this about the States, and that's what I've always admired about the States, is the mentality to win. And Hope was the same. Pino's the same. Like, they just have this something inside of them where they're going to do anything they possibly can to win. And Pino at the minute is world class. Both sides of the ball. Her, I mean, whatever, I could go into it, but her GPS data is someone of a 20-year-old, not of a 30, whatever she is. Like, phenomenal. This is the fittest I've ever seen her. Healthiest, fittest, most determined. And, you know, she loves this club. I know she does. She works really hard every day. And she's obviously putting in the performances, and we're getting the rewards for that, which I'm more than happy with.
When watching the game, I naturally compare the influence that Kim had when she was
Yep.
but they are obviously very different players, just geographically, stylistically.
Imagine if we'd have had them together.
Yeah,
And
it never quite lined up, did it? But can you compare the influence that Kim has, the type of player that she
Yeah.
is, and the type of influence that Megan has from where she has it, and how that makes the similarities and differences?
Yeah, I think, you know, the 2014 Kim, if we call her that, was this phenomena that people, not they didn't know about her, but they didn't know how to stop her. And that's when we had Pino at her with the biggest injuries, really, which was such a shame. I think they are different. Kim prides herself on everything but scoring, really, and assisting, which sounds crazy to say, but she does. And Pino knows that she could give the ball away 2 out of 10, but the 2 that she's given away actually could be goals. She's that type of player where Kim would kick herself about the 2, whereas Pino will go, well, I'll try that, and if it works, I'm probably scoring, and if I don't, it's going to go out for a throw. And so they're very different in that way. But yeah, their influence is on par probably at the minute. Yeah.
You said that it feels like you're the saddle reigning in.
Yeah.
And now you're going into the second half of the season, you're in a good place on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But the second half of the season, it flips and you play more on the road than at home. What's your
Yeah.
challenge of taking what was an amazing 8 days?
Yeah.
What's your challenge now moving forward where you're going to have to take more of that on the road?
We've just got to keep the mentality of we don't want to be beaten, you know, and we're going to a tough place in North Carolina. You know, our next 2 road games in North Carolina, and it's it's a tough place to go to. They're a very, very good side, very good side. But you know, I think we just have to keep the mentality of we don't want to be beaten and work hard on the things we've been good at. Because I think the last 3 performances here, even though we've won and, well, not been beaten, they've not really been like amazing football performances, which we have to be right now. That's what we have to be, and that's what we have to be on the road. We have to grind it. We have to grind it out on the road, and we can't assume it's just going to happen. And I don't think we have done that over the last 4 games, really, Kansas away as well. we've made it happen. We've made it happen, and you have to do that on the road. You have to accept that you're in somebody else's house. You have to accept that you've got to earn the right. And currently, we're willing to do that. And as long as we are, we'll pick up points, and we'll be okay. And then when we come back home, we've got to keep that same mentality. And I think that's probably the hard thing for us in July and August is it's very home one week, away the next, home 1 week, away the next, and it jumps a little bit. But we're in a good place. We know what we need to do. We know the things we're doing well. The girls have worked really hard this week and deserve a little break, and then we'll turn our attentions to North Carolina.
You talked a lot about the mentality.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, I feel like this year, more than any other year, for a variety of reasons,
Yeah.
there's a lot more rookies and younger players
Mhm.
getting playing time.
Yeah.
Does it come in with that kind of mentality? Is that just the group that you have, or has it been really developed through some of your senior players?
The rookies are really interesting, actually, this year. They do have that mentality. I mean, McNabb is just ice cold. Kate Johnson, ice cold. Maddie Bauer, ice cold. They just don't care. Like, not that they don't care. Nothing phases them. They don't get phased. They don't get all caught up with, you know, what they're potentially achieving. I love that about them. And, yeah, I think that has brought a bit of grind to us and a bit of grit. And yeah, it's not really like me to play a lot of rookies, but I can't ignore them. That's the way it is, and they've added a spark and a life and a youth to us, which I think we needed a little bit. I mean, I still play Celine Dion in the locker room, but it's fine.
Who's your starting center back 10 right now?
Oh God,
Everybody's healthy.
probably the two that were tonight. You know, obviously Rachel now goes away right to the Euros, and we wish her all the best. And she's had a really tough year, and I hope she goes and smashes it in the Euros. It's such a fun thing to be part of, and Scotland have worked really hard to try and get a major tournament. But you know, you can't deny what Kristen's been doing. Can't ignore her. I think she's been phenomenal over the last whatever it's been, 4 or 5 games. I think we have a nice balance in our centre backs. We have real defenders, which I would call McNabb, and then we have our ball playing centre backs like Lou. And I think over the last week we've shown that sometimes we need ball playing centre backs, sometimes we need out and out defenders, and thankfully we have both. So it's hard to say what the best two are, and I think what we have to be very good at is, well, I have to be good at, I suppose, is getting the right partnerships for the right games, because you know, North Carolina are very different to Portland. You know, what threats they have and how they play and the problems they're going to cause they're very different. So, you know, I think today was great. I think we got it right, and we have to get it right next week. And if we don't, the bench is good enough to come on and change the game.
Speaking of Lou, she hit a milestone tonight.
Yeah.
100 cap appearances for this year.
Yeah.
Just reflect on just, you know, that first year when you were building up
Ugh,
the
yeah.
squad, and
Brutal.
when you got her, and just the growth that she's.
Yeah, I mean, to think that she'd never played centre back before she played for the Reign is a crazy thought. You know, I think it's a huge milestone for someone to reach 100 caps for one single club. In some ways, it's quite poetic, really, that it's Lou, because I've always said she's the most consistent player. You know what you're going to get. It's not everyone's flavour. It's definitely mine. The way she plays the game is the way I want the game to be played. She's developed a lot over the last 5 seasons as a person, which has got her to be captain of this club for, you know, right now with Jess. And I'm just really happy that on her 100th appearance for this club that it wasn't against Chicago and it was against Portland and we won, because she'll remember that forever.
Can you give us your evaluation of the last few appearances for Christine Nairn?
Yeah.
You left her out of the 11 in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
She had a very good moment tonight with that ball from Megan.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's the type of thing that you imagine when you're playing.
Yeah. I think with Nairn, me and Nairn had a really good chat before the Kansas away game about the fact that I didn't feel we were finding her and enabling her to shine. And I wanted to work out why, because I know that she's going to be vital for us this season. We watched film together, we looked at clips, we broke things down. She'd been asked to do a very different role in Washington that I've been asking her to do, but it's clicking now, and I can see it, and I can see the work she's putting in on the training field, in the games. And you showed tonight, definitely, that ball for Pino's goal, that's the Christine Nairn I know. And that's the Christine Nairn I wanted back at this club, because she can change a game in an instant with her quality on the ball. And I think, you know, credit to her and credit to Lindsay too. I think over the last 3 games specifically, they've been very, very good.